Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we have a Caterpillar 359 D3. It has a big hydraulic leak and the tracks don't move. So we're going to check it out and see what's wrong with it, and then we'll fix it. Okay, it looks like this one right here is the leak. You can see how clean it is compared to the other one, and when it was on it was dripping. And then you can see this little piece right here? I don't know if you can see that. That is actually the rubber seal, or pieces of it. You got to be careful when you put them on. It's best to lubricate them first before they don't get stuck. You can see little pieces of it sticking out. That's part of the rubber seal, or what used to be the seal. See that right there? Yeah, you can see see that blue thing right there? That's the actual rubber O-ring. Should be an O-ring there, but you can see it's busted. You see it right there? That's the O-ring, or what's left of it. And to get this off, you see this little red tab right here? You pull that out with a needle nose pliers. You pull the tab out, then you push the hose up in there. That disengages the lock. Then you just pull this hose out. Once the hose, you push it up in there, and then you pull it out. And once you pull the hose out, you can get a wrench right here on this one right here and take it off. I mean, it sounds easy, but it's not. It's a pain in the butt, but you can do it. So you just, to get this hose out of here, you gotta pull this pin out. You push this in. You just gotta wiggle at the same time. Push it in. That'll disengage the lock that's here. And then you pull the hose out the rest of the way, and it comes out. And then when you put it back in, you just put this pin back on here and push it in, and it locks in place. So this is the problem right here. A little rubber O-ring. You can see pieces of it there, where it's a lot of time when you put them in, you got to be careful and make sure you put a lot of oil on them so they don't get stuck, and then they'll just break before you even get it done. You can see on the side there, part of the seal, and that's why it's leaking out. A lot of pressure. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to clean it off a little bit. I usually use carburetor cleaner, but I don't have any, so we're going to use starting fluid. Especially here, use some carburetor cleaner or something with a high pressure. Try to clean off, especially around here, because it has to go back in. Okay, let me see if I can get this in there like that. That part's gonna have to push inside of it, so you want to get it clean off really good. See that piece right there? That's the old O-ring right there. So clean it off really good. Check out the bottom of the rag to make sure we get it all off of there. Okay, now you can see this little clip here. That's so it won't come out. So you just pull this clip out here and not lose it. Try not to lose it. Put it somewhere it won't get lost. See that? I put it in the floor of the machine, so hopefully it won't get lost. Okay, now that it's cleaned, you gotta kind of push it in to pull it out. It's gonna be kind of hard to do with the camera because of where the camera is. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is push it in. Okay, somehow. Okay, now you can see a little gap here. A little gap has to be gone, so we gotta push it in until that gap is gone. Okay, and that's usually pretty damn hard to do. So let me get some PB Blaster to make it a little bit softer. Okay, now it's all the way in, so we want to start pulling it out now. And it is coming out. Okay, it's out. See there? It popped out. So you push it all the way in, and then you pull it out. Now we're just going to get a wrench and take off this piece and put it on the new one. You can actually buy the seal by itself, but sometimes I prefer to buy the whole thing because they're damaged and you can't really tell. So let me get the new fitting and we'll put it on. Now this here is the new fitting from Caterpillar. You can't buy it anywhere else. Maybe that's the reason they made these quick connects, because it's supposed to be quick and easy to get out, and because you got to buy them from them. And unfortunately, let me show you the end of the hose. You see the end of that hose right there? See how it is? Now you can't go to your local hydraulic shop and get this hose remade like you normally do, because look at it, they're not going to have that end right there. So they kind of got a monopoly on that deal. But we're going to change that, take this off right here and put in the new one. The new one comes with a seal right there. And I find that the stubby usually works the best. The stubby, this is 1 5/8 with a short cheater or a hammer, whichever works for you. But that's pretty much what you're going to need. You're going to need the 1 5/8. You're going to need the fitting, of course, and the part numbers on there. I showed it to you. Okay. And then you'll need a hammer and a chubby. Okay, now you see this is the one that comes out of it. You see that's that blue seal that was missing? Well, broken, not missing. It's busted, but it's there. And that's protective cover for the threads. Let's put this back on here. So we still gotta take out the other one, so I'll put that back on and we'll take off the old one. These things are never easy to get out. There's not a lot of room in there, so I usually find it easy. I have this long chisel here, and I usually find it easier just to tap it a little bit and break it free and then go from there. So I give them a little hammer, because it's at a rubber seal, so it's not going to be too tight. Once you get it moving, let's get it moving a little more. It is moving. You usually don't have to tap it too much. And then from there, you put your, let's see if it's loose enough to get it started a little bit. There we go. Then you put your little wrench on there and do that. Sometimes you can put just the wrench and it'll turn. Since this seal is damaged, it's probably a little bit loose. You see the little seal coming out of there all damaged up? Let me get that off. Well, maybe not. Once we get it out of there, see that? See how it's all busted up? Most likely when it was installed, it didn't lubricate it because it's pretty bad. Well, it's possible. Sometimes they're working really hard, but it looks like that one got caught. So what we want to do now is, let me get a rag, we'll clean it up a little bit and then wash it off. Okay, so we want to clean it off, make sure there's no dirt in there at all. And there's a little slot in there where that seal goes. You want to touch it with your finger and make sure it's not damaged, because it'll catch the seal, and once the seal stops, it'll just rip it to pieces when I say lock it. So what I usually do is I get a little grease like that and I put it on the edge so that it can slide. The seal can actually turn as the fitting is turning. Not a lot, just enough to keep it a little bit lubricated. And then on this thing here, see the new seal? I usually put a little bit of grease on there too. That way it won't actually catch, because if it catches while you're trying to tighten it up, it's just going to break. It ain't going to seal at all. It's just going to break. So you want to make sure that it actually can slide when you're doing it. You want to put it in by hand all the way snug. Screw it in there like that. You don't want to get crazy and over tighten it too much either. So you want to make sure it can slide as you, it won't get stopped and get stuck as you tighten it up. Because if it does that, it ain't going to compress. It's just going to stop and it's going to rip in pieces. Okay, so I can see it turning, so it's in there. Then you want to get your wrench and screw that sucker in with the wrench first. Don't let you turn it too much. For some, it's just not a very good, there's not a lot of room. You have to take off a bunch of stuff if you want to really do it with a wrench. But we can get it in there a little bit. Okay, see if I can turn it some more. You run it till it goes all the way up against the metal. See, it's a slot in there where the seal sits at, so that one probably was not put in correctly. That's why that one was damaged. It didn't have any lubrication on it. So what we want to do now, it's all in there. We're going to tap it a little bit so we can tighten up the rest of the way. We got the chisel on there. Just kind of lightly tap it until it's flush. And then I'm going to go this way here. Lightly tap it. I'm sorry, my hand's in the way there. Let's try it from this side here. That'll be a little better. Okay, like that. You want to tap it hard, just a little light tap. You don't want to damage it. Okay, now you better get the wrench on it a little bit. There we go. You ain't never been turning too much, but this thing, okay, it's still turning. Just not a lot of room in here. But it is seated good because it hasn't come out. You see, it's not sticking out, so it's seated good. The most important thing is the lubricated thing, so it doesn't. You can also use hydraulic oil instead of the grease if you got a bunch of it laying around, which I could have looked for, but I didn't. Just turn that sucker. Keep turning it. There we go. There we go. It's turning. Still turning. Okay. And there's no room for a socket, in case you're thinking about that, because they're too close together. Okay, eventually gonna get to a spot to where you can actually tighten the sucker. But it's going in there pretty good so far. It's not anything sticking out, so. And you do want to make sure it's tight. You don't want it loose because it'll vibrate loose a little bit, and that seal will pop right out of there. And you don't want that. You want to do it again for free. Okay. Still got a little ways to go. It is seated. So it's almost all up against there. And there's nothing sticking out, so it did seat good, the seal. Okay. You can usually tell off the bat if it's a bad job, because that seal won't be inside. You'll be sticking out on the edges. I don't see any, so. Okay. You see now it's seated up against that. So now we want to tap it down and lock it. Make sure it's good and tight. I'm gonna get it more toward this end. I'm gonna do not where the threads are. Okay, we'll have to get this again. So what you want to do, tighten it up, just to tap it a little bit on there, pretty good. So I'm gonna make sure it's good and tight. That's tight. Okay, we'll get one more knock, and we should be okay. Take a good check here. See if it'll move at all. No, that's tight. That should be good as wood there. Okay, we'll get one more tap with the. Make sure you get it on this end, not near the threads. Only on this side right here. Close to the end, so tap. Okay, that's tight. It won't be vibrating loose. Okay, then there's this end here. Okay, you want to make sure there's no. Take this. Clean that off first. First, you want to clean this off. Make sure there's no dirt or anything on there. And you pull this little protective cap out. Okay. Do that. I'll have to get the pliers. Where did they go? Here we go. Okay. Have the needle nose here. This is a protective cap to make sure there's no trash gets in there. So we'll pull that out. And then we gotta clean this one off. Expect the seal. Okay, I'll cut that off a second. Okay, the first thing you want to do with this one is make sure it's completely clean. It must back up in there. Okay. Make sure it's completely clean first. I usually do is just wipe it off a little bit, then I spray with some PB Blaster or WD-40, and hopefully this can is working. Make sure it's completely cleaned off. You don't want anything on there, any trash or dirt or sand or anything. I want to make sure it's completely clean. Okay, everything looks clean. Okay, let me see about that one. There's some dirt in there. You want to make sure it's completely clean so it'll seal properly. Make sure there's no dirt in there at all, on top, around it, anywhere. Okay, once you do that, you put this little lock back on. It will only go up to there, so it'll lock on when it goes in. And then you want to spray the inside a little bit so it'll slide in there easily. And then you just kind of put it up in there, and you gotta wiggle it in there straight until it seats. It won't go in easy either, it never does. They call them quick connect, but there's not really anything quick about them. Okay, and now it's locked. It should not come out now. So we got a new seal in there, the lock's in place. Now it's in, it shouldn't be leaking anymore, it shouldn't come out. We are good to go. And that one was actually quicker than normal. Most of the time, even harder than that. So, thank you very much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't had a chance, please hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.